Welcome to yet another Oars vlog, except it's just me again working on the keel, except it's actually done this time. All of it, hopefully. We'll see. We'll see what Diego thinks when he sees this. It is currently not 6:07 a.m. That's a lie. But it is August actually, is it August 2nd still? I need to check my phone because my laptop is not working. It's August 2nd. It's August 2nd, and I have this fabricatable keel. It's got the bolts and everything. Oof, oof. It's even got room for you to put the bolts in. Yeah, okay. So, uh basically I'm going to walk you through the process of making this keel, and it starts with the insert. That's this boy right here. We can That's this boy. That's this boy right here. Let's open this boy up. Let's look at him. Oof, oof, look at that keel. Well, as you already probably know, this has been cut out of stainless steel, and it's the right thickness. In the CAD, it's a little thicker, so that way we can make it flush with all the other parts and still have some wiggle room. I don't remember exactly by how much it's thicker in the CAD. By 0.004 inches, 4 thou. It's a good rule of thumb extra. Anyways, the only part that needs to still be done is all of these holes, and we can do the thing where we have this, and then it's a drawing, and then we get all the measurements for the holes are, and then we drill them. And yeah, this one may be a little worrying, but also it's steel, and like there's so much other stuff supporting the bolt that's going to go through that. So yeah, not too worried. Okay, so that's how we're gonna make this part of it. But there are other parts to the keel. Oh yes, I'd like to update things. There are other parts to this keel. For instance, these two halves. So let's take a look at one of these halves here. They're kind of just mirrors of each other. Okay, so this should all be possible on the shopbot. It essentially will make this sort of indent into a big, like, rectangular box sort of piece of wood. And we'll first just make this sort of part here for the insert. And then also these parts up here, which I'll get to later. They're for threaded bolts, or not bolts, just threaded rods. Yeah. And these holes I think will also be made at the same time. They're for putting bolts in. That's just, yeah. And then this other side will be the next part that gets done by the shopbot. You just turn it over and it does this side. And yeah, it should be good. Okay. Yeah. So the threaded bolts, or threaded rods, that'll go into the keel halves, just gonna go in right here, and you just stick them in there. Not sure how long they have to be yet, so these are placeholders. But yeah. You just these holes are made with an extra 4 thou tolerance, so you just put in your threaded rod, and then you pour in some epoxy, and it should all stick together. Let's go down a bit. Okay, this is the bulb. The bulbous part of the assembly. It's the best part, clearly. This insert is holding up these three parts. They're all individual parts. And we can actually take a look at how they're held to the... Oh! I guess you can tell how they're held to the insert. It's just bolts. And also, this part follows the inner contour of the bulb. And it's a good time. And let's see if I can undo that, because I want to be able to see it. Okay, cool. Now let's look at this thing. This is split into several parts, but this is sort of like the master part. Okay, so we can see here that there is sort of space for putting a bolt through, and this sort of extra stuff at the top is so that we can shove a wrench in and grab onto the nut when we tighten it. which should be pretty helpful. It should make the whole thing a little less stressful. Yeah, and there's a hole for the insert, and that's oversized by a bit. Everything is oversized by a bit. All the cuts are oversized by a bit. But we can take a look at the individual parts that make this up by opening the different parts. Except, yeah, okay. Rebuild them. Okay, parts of the things aren't showing up, so I may have to save the things again. But essentially, they're already holding on to the insert with this stuff, but then they also have both end pieces have this thing sticking out of them. And the really nice thing about that piece is that it fits very nicely into the middle part of the bulb. There we go. So you can see how that would fit nicely into that. And yeah. And then you just pour in epoxy, and so it should hopefully keep it together along with all the bolts. Yeah. And then the last piece is the same sort of thing. There we go. Yeah. And yeah, that's essentially it. Let's go back to the assembly. See if I missed anything. Yeah, and all these bolts are in here. I figure if it has an Allen key head, that's just going to be easier to work with. Not in terms of like finding the right tool, but in terms of like tightening things. It'll be easier to fit an Allen key there than a wrench. Although a wrench shouldn't be too hard. And then we can go up here. These have, forget what these heads are called, but they have the different kinds of heads that you tighten with a wrench because they're sticking out. So, yeah. I don't think there's much else about this keel. It's a good looking keel, you know. Yeah. I think it's ready to be fabricated. Oh, this stuff is 3D printed. Yes, I did not explicitly say that, but it is. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this mini Oars vlog. Again, also this was all made in Trackpad CAD. At least all of the all of the latest updates were made with Trackpad CAD. It's been rough, but you know, it works, and it's a beautiful keel. So yeah, that's all I got. Okay, bye Diego.